The wind howled through the narrow pass, biting at the exposed skin of the two mountaineers as they struggled against the icy slope. They had been hiking for days, pushing themselves to their limits in search of the ultimate prize, the fabled Yeti. For years, stories of the elusive creature had captivated the world, and now these two adventurers were determined to be the first to capture it on film. But as they climbed higher into the unforgiving mountains, they began to sense that something was watching them. Something primal and ancient, with a hunger that could not be sated. As the sun began to set behind the jagged peaks, the two men finally stumbled upon a small cave, hidden away in the shadows. They cautiously approached the entrance, their hearts pounding with excitement and fear. The air inside the cave was thick with a musty odor, and the walls were slick with moisture. The light from their headlamps revealed bones scattered across the ground, some human, others unidentifiable. But it was the sound that froze them in their tracks, a deep, guttural growl that seemed to come from deep within the earth itself. And then they saw it, a massive, hulking shape, covered in shaggy white fur and towering over them like a giant. Its eyes glowed with a fiery intensity, and its breath came in short, sharp bursts that echoed off the walls. For a moment, the two men were frozen in terror, unsure of what to do next. But as the creature began to advance, its massive arms swinging through the air, they knew they had to act fast. They scrambled back down the mountain, the creature hot on their heels, its roars echoing through the night. They ran until their legs burned and their lungs ached, until they stumbled into their campsite, panting and gasping for breath. But the creature did not give up. It followed them, its rage building with each passing moment. It tore through their tents and gear, tossing everything aside as it hunted them down with relentless determination. The men huddled together, their backs against a wall of rock, as the creature closed in for the kill. And then, just as all hope seemed lost, they heard a sound in the distance, the roar of a helicopter, coming to rescue them from the clutches of the beast. As the chopper descended from the sky, its powerful blades whipping up a fierce wind, the creature let out a final, deafening scream, and then disappeared into the shadows, leaving behind only a trail of destruction. The mountaineers were saved, but they would never forget the terror of that night, the fear that gripped them with an icy hand and refused to let go. As the helicopter flew the two mountaineers to safety, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had narrowly escaped death. They knew that they had been lucky this time, but they also knew that there were countless other adventurers out there who wouldn't be so fortunate. The men decided to take it upon themselves to warn others of the dangers of the Yeti. They went on a media tour, sharing their harrowing story with anyone who would listen. They cautioned others against trying to track down the beast, warning that it was more dangerous than anyone could ever imagine. But their warnings went unheeded. Other mountaineers, eager for fame and fortune, continued to venture into the mountains in search of the elusive creature. And one by one, they met the same fate as the two men who had narrowly escaped with their lives. But then, something strange began to happen. Reports started to trickle in of strange sightings and encounters with the Yeti that were different from anything that had been seen before. The creature was said to be more aggressive, more bloodthirsty than ever before. The men realized that something had changed, that the creature they had encountered was no longer just an animal, but something more. Something evil. And then, the reports stopped altogether. No one knew what had happened to the adventurers who had ventured into the mountains in search of the Yeti. Some speculated that they had met the same fate as those before them, while others believed that they had simply given up the search. But the two men knew better. They knew that the Yeti was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for its next victim. They knew that it was more dangerous than anyone could ever imagine, and that it was only a matter of time before it struck again. Determined to put an end to the creature once and for all, the men returned to the mountains, armed with the knowledge they had gained from their previous encounter. They knew that the Yeti was strong, but they also knew that it had weaknesses. They spent weeks tracking the beast, their determination growing with each passing day. And then, one night, they found it, a massive, hulking shape, covered in shaggy white fur, its eyes glowing with a fiery intensity. But this time, they were ready. They had traps set, weapons at the ready. They were determined to put an end to the creature that had haunted their dreams for so long. The battle was intense. The Yeti fought with a ferocity that was beyond anything they had ever seen, tearing through their traps and defenses with ease. But the men fought back, using every trick they had learned in their years of mountaineering. And finally, after what felt like hours, they emerged victorious. The Yeti lay dead at their feet, its massive body still and lifeless. The men knew that they had put an end to the creature's reign of terror, but they also knew that they would never forget the horror of those days and nights in the mountains. They knew that they had faced their fears and triumphed over evil, but they also knew that the memory of the beast would haunt them forever. As they made their way back to civilization, they vowed to never forget the lessons they had learned. They knew that the mountains were a dangerous place, full of mysteries and terrors that were beyond human understanding. And they knew that they would never be the same again. The two men emerged from the mountains, changed by their encounter with the Yeti. They knew that they had faced something beyond human understanding, something that would stay with them for the rest of their lives.